Hi folks, welcome back to the Motorcycle Enquiries, and we're going to have a look at the ontological argument today. We're going to try to work out whether it's possible to say that in fact existence is a predicate for God, whether it is possible to know God through his definition at all, and whether in fact there are logical fallacies that are made by the ontological argument. And then we are going to consider as well whether it is in fact better to use an argument from reason or an argument from observation.
So, when we have a look at the ontological argument, we have to think about the fallacies that are being committed. And the first one is greatness. Anselm doesn't define greatness. Now, if you're trying to give an a priori argument for something, you need to have clear terms that cannot be doubted, and he hasn't provided us with that. So that leads us into questioning. That leads us to questioning whether we can actually work out logical truths. Also, is it possible to have a greatest being possible? Is it logical? A priori truths require logic, and if you can have a logical paradox like if God is the greatest being possible, can he lift an unliftable rock? Then that leaves you with difficulties, because it means maybe your a priori ideas won't work, because there's a paradox somewhere within it. What about the fact that all this seems to be word games? If you can define God in a certain way using certain words, then this works. Yeah, but if the words are defined differently, then you get different outcomes. So this isn't as clear as it may seem. Then there's the issue of existence. Is it a predicate? Can you really describe something by saying that it exists? Hang on, just give me a moment at this junction. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So Galileo said, yeah, you can't define things into existence. Kant said that existence doesn't tell you anything about what you're trying to describe. So that's no good. We're going to have a look at the church down the way. Thank you. Church of St. Thomas in Aslockton. But Anselm responded by saying that the rules only apply to contingent beings there, not necessary beings. But is this just word games again? Here it is. Let's just find somewhere to pull over. And yeah, so maybe in fact the a posteriori arguments are better, because Anselm's response is kind of contentious, and Kant debates whether what he said is actually true. Okay. This is a 19th century church. It's a bit later. You can see it from the if you look at the windows. They're more modern. Nice little bell tower at the end. Yeah, nice little church, this one. So, can we really believe in God? Can we justify belief in God using the ontological argument? Well, we also have to look at the fact that Proslogion, which is what Anselm wrote, was really designed as a praise to God, not really a reason for non-believers to believe. So, maybe we're looking at this the wrong way. And then we also have to consider, is it really appropriate for a believer to supposedly know everything there is about God? Are sufficient glimpses okay? Leibniz's principle of sufficient reason. So this leads us finally to wonder whether a posteriori or a priori arguments are going to be better. A posteriori arguments... try that again. Third time lucky. A posteriori arguments have got some benefits. Aquinas says that you can't use a priori because you don't start with a known truth, so you can't work it out from there. Hume believes that you can't know a necessary being without experiencing it. Ooh, little hawk up there. There's quite a few out today. And also, why would you use an a posteriori argument if you can use why would you use an a priori argument if you could use a posteriori knowledge? We can see the evidence of God's being around us, according to a posteriori theologians. However, a priori has got its advantages. Senses are deceptive, potentially, and a priori logic is theoretically flawless. And also the modern ontologists, such as Norman Malcolm. Oh, right, fine, suit yourself. are theoretically better. But then maybe we can't believe either of them. Hey, we're off. Anthony Flew, for example, suggested if one leaky bucket won't hold water, then there's no reason to suppose that 10 will. So maybe it is a case that actually we can't believe either of them, and a non-believer isn't going to be convinced by anything that's written down on paper.